Captain Jaiwo Park stared at the main display screen showing the vast emptiness of space. Tiny dots of light representing the Vorn Empire fleet moved steadily toward Earth's solar system. Her hands gripped the command chair's armrests as she processed the implications. The Defiance, Earth's only deep space warship, suddenly felt very small. "How many ships?" she asked quietly. Tactical Officer Hyun Kim studied his console. "At least 300 vessels, Captain. Leading Edge will reach Saturn's orbit in 72 hours. The bridge fell silent. Earth had remained hidden from the galactic community for centuries after a disastrous first contact with alien life. That protection was now gone. The Vorn Empire, controlling most of the known galaxy, had found them at last. "Do they know we've spotted them?" Jaiwo asked. "I don't believe so," replied communications specialist Jinwoo Choi. "Their communications suggest they think they're approaching undetected." Jaiwo stood and walked to the large viewport. The experimental ship Defiance represented humanity's best technology, a blend of reverse-engineered alien tech and human innovation. It was supposed to be the first of many vessels, but political squabbles had delayed the rest of the fleet. Now they stood alone. "Captain," said Navigator Do-hyun Lee, breaking the silence. "Earth Defense Command is requesting our return to orbit for defensive positioning." Jaiwo shook her head. "If we wait for them to reach Earth, it will be too late." She turned to face her crew, 12 of Earth's finest, chosen for this experimental ship's maiden voyage. What should have been a routine test flight had turned into humanity's last stand. "The Vorn don't take prisoners," she said. "They integrate worlds, which means replacing the population with their own colonists. We've intercepted enough of their communications to know this." Chief Engineer Minji Kong entered the bridge, wiping grease from her hands. "Engine modifications are complete, Captain. We've pushed output to 120% of projected capacity." "Will it hold?" Jaiwo asked. Minji gave a small smile. "Long enough to matter, I hope." Jaiwo returned to her chair and activated the ship-wide communication system. "All hands, this is the captain. By now you know the situation. The Vorn fleet is approaching Earth, and we are the only vessel capable of interception." She paused, choosing her words carefully. "Earth Defense Command has ordered us to return for defensive positioning. I believe this order is misguided. If we fight at Earth, the planet will suffer regardless of outcome." The ship's AI, Nova, materialized as a holographic projection beside her. "Captain, I've analyzed all possible scenarios. Engaging the Vorn fleet near Earth results in planetary damage in 98.7% of outcomes." "Thank you, Nova," Jaiwo said. "I've made my decision. We will intercept the Vorn fleet at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. Far from Earth, where we can surprise them and hopefully buy our planet time." Hyun looked up from his console. "Captain, with respect, that's effectively a suicide mission. The Defiance wasn't designed to face an entire fleet." "I'm aware," Jaiwo responded calmly. "That's why I'm making this voluntary. Anyone who wishes to return to Earth via escape pod has my permission." No one moved. After a moment, Do-hyun spoke for everyone. "We're with you, Captain." Jaiwo nodded, emotion briefly crossing her usually stoic face. "Plot intercept course. Maximum speed." The Defiance turned away from Earth's blue safety and accelerated toward the outer solar system. As stars streaked by, Jaiwo reviewed what little they knew about Vorn technology and tactics. "Nova, display all Vorn ship schematics we've obtained from their damaged scout ship." Holographic models appeared, showing the alien vessel's strange, organic-looking designs. The crew studied them in silence, looking for weaknesses. Their communications seemed to rely on quantum entanglement, Jinwoo noted. Theoretically impossible to intercept or disrupt, but they use standard transmissions as backup. Minji pointed to the engine sections. "Their power systems are different from anything we've seen. Much more efficient than ours, but possibly less stable under stress." Hours passed as they prepared, each crew member focusing on their specialty, looking for any advantage against the overwhelming force ahead. As the Defiance approached the intercept point, Jaiwo gathered her officers for final instructions. We'll hide among the ice formations and debris. When their advance scouts pass, we strike hard and fast, then disappear. We need to confuse them, make them think Earth has more ships than just us. She looked at each face around her. The odds are against us, but remember, they don't know humans yet. They don't know what we're capable of when protecting our home. The ship's lights dimmed as they entered stealth mode. On the bridge, only essential systems remained active. Ahead, the first Vorn scout ships appeared, sleek and predatory. Ready weapons, Jaiwu whispered. Let's show them why they should have left Earth alone. Darkness surrounded the Defiance as it drifted silently between two massive ice formations at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. The ship's external lights were off, and its heat signature was masked by special panels that Chief Engineer Minji Kong had designed herself. 3 Vorn scout ships approaching, whispered Hyun from his tactical station. They're scanning the area but haven't detected us yet. Captain Jaiwo nodded. The Defiance's stealth technology was working. Unlike standard Earth vessels, the Defiance used a layered approach to hiding, not just visual camouflage but also heat dispersion, signal absorption, and gravitational masking. Most of these ideas had come from Minji, who had studied the damaged Vorn scout ship found 10 years ago. They're separating, Do Hyun reported. 2 heading toward the inner system, 1 coming directly toward our position. Perfect, Jaiwu said. 1 is manageable. Let it get closer. The bridge crew waited in tense silence as the alien scout ship grew larger on their screens. The vessel resembled a manta ray with strange purple lights pulsing along its hull. It's almost in position, Hyun said. Jaiwu leaned forward. Nova, activate systems but keep emissions at minimum. The AI's voice came softly through the bridge speakers. Systems activating. Maintaining low emission profile. Minji's voice came through the comm from the engine room. Captain, I've modified our pulse cannons to fire at reduced power. They'll register as natural energy discharges from the ice if the other scouts detect them. Good thinking, Jaiwo replied. Everyone ready? We'll have one chance to take it down quietly. The crew confirmed their readiness as the scout ship drifted overhead, unaware of the predator below. Now, ordered Jaiwu. The Defiance rose from its hiding place like a ghost. Before the Vorn vessel could react, 4 precisely aimed pulse shots hit its engine section. The scout ship shuddered and went dark, its systems overloaded by the unexpected attack. Direct hit, Hyun reported. Their emergency systems are activating but main power is down. Grapples, Jaiwo commanded. 4 magnetic lines shot out from the Defiance, attaching to the disabled scout ship and pulling it close. Boarding team, you have 10 minutes, Jaiwu said into her comm. Minji led the small team that entered the alien vessel. They moved quickly through the strange corridors, gathering technology samples and downloading data from accessible systems. The few Vorn crew members they encountered were already dead or dying from loss of atmosphere, their breathing systems apparently more fragile than humans. 9 minutes later, Minji and her team returned to the Defiance, carrying several alien devices and storage units. Release the ship and put us back into hiding, Jaiwu ordered once they were aboard. The Defiance detached its grapples and slipped back between the ice formations. Moments later, the other 2 scout ships returned to investigate why their companion had gone silent. They're searching for us, Do Hyun said, watching the scanner. But they can't penetrate the ice formations with their sensors. In the engineering lab, Minji was already analyzing their prizes. She held up a small purple crystal to the light. This is part of their weapons system. It's like nothing we've seen before. Jinwoo studied the data they'd stolen. Their next patrol is due in 6 hours. And look at this, fleet deployment patterns. We can use this to predict their movements. For the next 5 hours, the crew worked frantically. Minji integrated some of the alien technology into the Defiance's systems, while Hyun analyzed their weapons capabilities. Captain, you need to see this, Minji called from engineering. I've modified our shield system using their crystal technology. It should adapt to their weapons after the first few hits. Jaiwu joined her in the engine room, where the ship's central core now glowed with a strange purple-blue light. Is it stable? Mostly, Minji admitted. It's not a perfect integration, but it should give us an edge they won't expect. Nova's hologram appeared beside them. I've analyzed the shield modifications. They increase our defensive capability by approximately 47%, but power consumption is 30% higher. Jaiwu nodded. Worth the trade-off. Back on the bridge, Hyun had news of his own. I've reconfigured our quantum torpedoes to match the frequency their shields operate on. First salvo should punch right through before they can adapt. And I've cracked part of their communication code, added Jinwoo. We can listen in, maybe even send false orders if needed. As the crew prepared for their next encounter, Jaiwo studied the tactical display showing 5 more Vorn vessels approaching their position. They're hunting for us now, she said. This time we can't just disable one and hide. Do-Hyun looked nervous. We're still outnumbered. Jaiwoo smiled slightly. But we're not outmatched. Not anymore. They expect primitive human technology. Let's show them how dangerous underestimating us can be. The Defiance powered up its hybrid systems, human ingenuity merged with alien technology in ways the Vorn could never anticipate. As the enemy ships drew closer, the crew took their positions, ready to fight against impossible odds. Remember, Jaiwo said, we don't need to defeat their entire fleet. We just need to be unpredictable enough to worry them. With that, she gave the order that would begin the real battle. Take us in. Fleet Commander Talo of the Vorn Empire stood on the command deck of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. His tall figure cast a long shadow across the polished floor as he studied the holographic battle map. 3 scout ships lost in less than a day. Unacceptable. Status report, he demanded. His second-in-command, Sub-Commander Kren, stepped forward. The human vessel continues to use hit-and-run tactics, sir. It appears and disappears before we can lock weapons. Talo's 4 eyes narrowed. One ship. One primitive human ship is causing this much trouble. He slammed his fist on the console. Deploy the main battle group. I want that vessel found and destroyed. Across the void of space, the Defiance emerged from behind a small moon, its modified engines glowing with an eerie blue-purple light. Inside, the bridge crew worked with focused intensity. 5 Vorn battle cruisers detected, reported Hyun. They're spreading out to cover more area. Captain Jaiwo studied the tactical display. They had successfully destroyed 3 scout ships over the past 12 hours, but now the real test would begin. The battle cruisers were much larger and better armed. Nova, analysis of our modified shields against their main weapons? The AI appeared beside her. Based on observed data, our shields should withstand 3 direct hits from their main cannons before failing. Jaiwo nodded. Not great odds, but better than 0. She turned to her crew. We'll target the leftmost cruiser. Hit their weapons first, then engines. Quick strike and retreat. The Defiance accelerated toward its target, weapons charged. The Vorn cruiser detected them and immediately opened fire. Brilliant beams of energy lanced through space. Evasive maneuvers. Jaiwu ordered. Do-Hyun's hands flew across the controls as the ship twisted and turned. One beam grazed their hull, and the ship shuddered. Shields holding at 82%, Nova reported. Return fire, Jaiwo commanded. The Defiance's modified quantum torpedoes streaked toward the Vorn cruiser. The first 2 hit the alien vessel's shields, causing them to flicker. The third broke through, striking the weapons array. Direct hit, shouted Hyun. Before they could celebrate, warning alarms blared. The other 4 cruisers had changed course and were now converging on their position. We've been flanked, said Do-Hyun, his voice tense. Beams of energy crisscrossed space as all 4 remaining cruisers fired simultaneously. The Defiance weaved through the barrage, but couldn't avoid all of it. Shields at 41%, Nova announced. Hull breach on Deck 3. Emergency force fields activated. Get us out of here, Jaiwu ordered. Maximum speed toward the nebula. The Defiance shot away from the battle, engines straining. The damaged Vorn cruiser couldn't pursue, but the other four gave chase, continuing to fire. Another hit rocked the ship. Sparks flew from a console, and a crew member was thrown to the floor. Shields failing, shouted Minji through the calm engine room, taking damage. Jaiwo gripped her chair. Do-Hyen, can we reach the nebula? Not at current speed, he replied grimly. They're gaining on us. Jaiwo made a quick decision. Divert all power from weapons to engines and shields. Nova, calculate a slingshot trajectory around that dwarf planet ahead. Captain, that's extremely risky, Nova warned. Do it. The Defiance changed course, diving toward a small, rocky planet. The gravity well pulled at the ship as it curved around at dangerous speed. Warning systems screamed as the hull strained under the pressure. Behind them, two of the Vorn cruisers attempted to follow the same maneuver. One miscalculated, coming too close to the planet's surface. Its shields flared and failed as it scraped the upper atmosphere, sending it tumbling out of control. The Defiance completed its slingshot, gaining precious distance from its pursuers. Ahead lay the nebula, a vast cloud of gas and dust that would hide them from sensors. We're going to make it, Do-Hyen said with relief. The ship plunged into the nebula's edge, visibility immediately dropping to near zero. The colorful gases swirled around them, beautiful and concealing. In the sudden quiet, Jinwoo made a discovery as he monitored Vorn communications. Captain, I'm picking up something interesting. Their ships are having trouble maintaining contact with each other in the nebula. Let me see, said Jaiwo, moving to his station. Jinwoo pointed to the signal patterns. Their quantum communication systems aren't working well here. They're switching to standard transmissions. Can you intercept those? Yes, and maybe. Jinwoo's eyes widened. Maybe we can do more than intercept. The frequency they're using has a vulnerability. If we could create a virus to exploit it. As the damaged Defiance drifted deeper into the nebula, the crew gathered in what remained of the engineering section. Emergency lights cast red shadows across their faces as Jinwoo explained his discovery. If Minji can help me create the right code, we might be able to temporarily disable their ship's systems. Minji looked thoughtful. It would need to be delivered directly to their command ship to spread through their network. Which means getting dangerously close to it, Jaiwo finished. They all understood what that meant. After a moment of silence, Jaiwo spoke again. Make it happen. We need every advantage we can get. Outside in the vastness of space, Fleet Commander Talo ordered his remaining ships to surround the nebula. That human vessel is in there, damaged and hiding, he told his officers. No one rests until it is destroyed. For 36 hours, the Defiance drifted silently in the colorful depths of the nebula. The crew worked without rest, repairing critical systems and finalizing their desperate plan. Captain Jaiwo moved between stations, checking progress and offering quiet encouragement. In the makeshift lab created from a damaged storage room, Jinwoo and Minji huddled over a small device connected to the ship's communication array. The virus is ready, Jinwoo announced, his voice rough from exhaustion. It will target their navigation and weapons systems first, then spread to life support and engines. Minji nodded. But we need to get within direct transmission range of their command ship for it to work. Their security protocols will detect and block it otherwise. How close? Asked Jaiwo. 5,000 kilometers at most, Jinwoo replied. Practically point-blank range in space combat. Jaiwo studied the tactical display showing the Vorn fleet positions around the nebula. 15 ships now, including the massive flagship Eternal Dominion at the center. Nova, can you use the nebula's electromagnetic properties to mask our approach? The AI's hologram flickered. Yes, Captain. I can create a series of false signatures to distract their sensors while we approach. However, we will be detected once we exit the nebula. By then, it needs to be too late for them to react, Jaiwo said. She called the bridge crew together. Here's the plan. We're calling it Operation Trojan Horse. She outlined their desperate gambit. The Defiance would ride an intense electromagnetic wave out of the nebula, appearing to be natural phenomenon. As they neared the Vorn flagship, they would transmit the virus, then execute a complex attack pattern to cause maximum confusion. This is our only shot, Jaiwo finished. If we fail, Earth stands alone. Hours later, the Defiance was positioned at the nebula's edge. The ship's systems were operating at minimal power, many repairs incomplete. All stations report ready, Captain, said Hyun from Tactical. Jaiwo took a deep breath. Begin Operation Trojan Horse. The Defiance surged forward, riding an electromagnetic pulse that Nova had carefully generated. The ship shuddered as it burst from the nebula's edge, trailing colorful gases that masked its heat signature. On the Vorn flagship, alarms sounded. Natural emission from the nebula, reported a sensor officer. Unusual energy readings but no signs of weight. Ship detected. It's the human vessel. Commander Talo spun toward the viewscreen. All ships, open fire. But before the order could be carried out, Jinwoo activated the virus transmission. A concentrated burst of data shot directly at the Vorn flagship's communication array. Virus transmitted, he called out. Connection established. The effect was almost immediate. Across the Vorn fleet, navigation systems failed. Two cruisers veered dangerously close to each other. Weapons powered down mid-charge. Now, ordered Jaiwoo. Full attack pattern. The Defiance accelerated directly toward the confused fleet. Its modified weapons fired rapidly, targeting the vulnerable ships first. Two smaller vessels lost power completely and drifted helplessly. On the flagship's bridge, chaos reigned. Talo shouted orders that couldn't be carried out as systems failed around him. Restore manual control, he demanded. Target that human ship. But the Defiance was already weaving through the disorganized fleet, firing precisely at critical systems. 3 more Vorn ships suffered major damage before their crews could regain partial control. Inside the human vessel, conditions were deteriorating quickly. The engine room filled with smoke as systems overloaded. We can't maintain this output, Minji warned through coughing. The core is destabilizing. On the bridge, a console exploded, sending Do-hyun flying from his seat. Jaiwo helped him up as Hyun took over navigation. Shields failing, reported Nova calmly. Hull integrity at 27% and dropping. Despite the damage, Jaiwo kept them on course. The Defiance completed another attack run, disabling 2 more Vorn vessels. But now the remaining ships were recovering from the virus, their weapons coming back online. Energy beams sliced through space, several hitting the already damaged Defiance. The ship shuddered violently. Direct hit to engine section, Nova announced. Fire suppression systems failing. Through the smoke and sparks on the bridge, Jaiwoo saw their target, the Vorn flagship now directly ahead. Their plan had worked better than expected, but the Defiance was falling apart around them. Minji's voice came through the static of the damaged comm system. Captain, the core is reaching critical levels. I can't shut it down. Can we eject it? Jaiwoo asked. Negative. Ejection systems are damaged. But... Minji paused. If we can get close enough to their flagship, I can modify the containment field to direct the explosion toward them when it goes. Jaiwoo understood immediately what this meant. She looked around at her crew. Bloodied, burned, but still fighting. How close? She asked. 1,000 kilometers, Minji replied. Point-blank range. Jaiwoo nodded slowly. Set course directly for the flagship. All remaining power to engines and forward shields. As the dying ship accelerated toward its target, Commander Talo finally realized what was happening. Evasive maneuvers, he screamed. The humans are on a collision course. But it was too late. The Defiance closed the distance rapidly, its failing engines pushing beyond their limits. Impact in 30 seconds, Nova reported. Jaiwoo stood at the center of her bridge, calm despite the chaos. It has been my honor serving with all of you, she said. The Defiance and the Eternal Dominion drew inexorably closer. A blinding flash of light erupted in space as the Defiance's core destabilized just 700 kilometers from the Vorn flagship. For a brief moment, it outshone everything else in the system, a new star born from human desperation and courage. On the Defiance's bridge, Captain Jaiwoo braced for death. The ship shook violently as the explosion began to tear through its structure. Emergency bulkheads slammed down. Warning alarms blared. Then, unexpectedly, the ship lurched sideways as Minji, in her final act of engineering brilliance, directed most of the blast wave away from them and toward the Vorn flagship. The shockwave hit the Eternal Dominion with devastating force. Its shields collapsed instantly. The massive vessel broke apart as the concentrated energy tore through its hull, igniting ammunition stores and fuel reserves in secondary explosions. When the light faded, silence filled the bridge of the Defiance. Through crackling displays, the crew saw the impossible. They were still alive, though barely. Their ship was crippled beyond repair, but somehow intact enough to maintain life support in the central sections. "We're alive?" Do-Hyun whispered, breaking the silence. Hyun checked his damaged console. "The Vorn flagship is destroyed. The remaining fleet vessels are in disarray." Through the viewports, they watched as the surviving Vorn ships began to retreat, their formation broken, their commander gone. One by one, they jumped to faster-than-light speed, abandoning their mission. "They're running," Jinwoo said in disbelief. Captain Jaiwoo tried to stand but collapsed back into her chair. Blood trickled from a cut on her forehead. "Nova, status report." The AI's voice came through patchy speakers, its hologram too damaged to appear. "Life support operational in sections 1 through 4 only. Engine core destroyed. Communication systems at 18% capacity. Medical bay intact but supplies limited. Can we send a message to Earth?" Jaiwoo asked. "Yes, Captain. Limited transmission possible. Send this, Vorn fleet engaged. Command ship destroyed. Remaining forces retreating. Defiance damaged but crew surviving. We held the line." As the message transmitted across the vast distance to Earth, the crew began treating their wounds and assessing the damage. With engines destroyed, they could only drift. It would take weeks for a rescue ship to reach them if Earth decided to send one. 3 days later, Minji managed to restore emergency power to more sections of the ship. In the makeshift medical bay, Do-Hyun recovered from surgery. Jaiwoo visited each wounded crew member, offering quiet words of encouragement. "Did our message reach Earth?" asked Jinwoo when she checked on him. "Yes," she replied. "They received it yesterday. The entire planet is celebrating." "Are they sending help?" Jaiwoo nodded. 2 ships are already on their way. The prototype vessels they had been arguing about funding for years. Our battle gave them the push they needed. On the 7th day, they detected a transmission not from Earth, but from an unexpected source. Jinwoo called the captain to the communications station. "It's being broadcast on all frequencies, in multiple languages," he explained. "Including ours." The message was from the Galactic Coalition, a loose alliance of species that had been resisting Vorn expansion for centuries. They had monitored the battle from afar and were impressed by humanity's stand against overwhelming odds. "They want to meet with us," Jinwoo said. "They're sending a diplomatic vessel." 23 days after the battle, as the crew of the Defiance survived on minimal rations and dwindling oxygen, 2 ships appeared on their sensors. One was the Earth Rescue Vessel. The other bore markings they had never seen before, the Coalition diplomatic ship. When Jaiwoo and her crew finally returned to Earth, they were greeted as heroes. The footage of their battle, recorded by Nova and transmitted back, had been played on every screen across the planet. Children knew their names. Streets were being renamed in their honor. But the true impact of their stand became clear in the weeks that followed. Coalition representatives met with Earth's leaders, offering technology, knowledge, and alliance. Other species, impressed by humanity's ingenuity against the mighty Vorn, sent their own delegations. 6 months later, Captain Jaiwo stood on the observation deck of Earth's first official diplomatic vessel. She watched as the newly formed Earth Defense Fleet conducted exercises nearby, 20 ships now, with 50 more under construction. Each bore the emblem of the Defiance on its hull. Beside her stood Hyun, now a fleet commander himself. "The Vorn have withdrawn from 3 star systems since our battle," he reported. "The coalition believes they're reassessing their expansion strategy." "All because of one ship," Jaiwo said quietly. "One ship and its crew," Hyun corrected. "The coalition's tactical experts are still studying how we defeated so many of their vessels." Jaiwo turned from the viewport to look at the activity on the deck below. Representatives from 7 alien species worked alongside humans, sharing knowledge and building relationships. "We didn't just win a battle," she said. "We changed humanity's place in the galaxy." As their ship accelerated toward the first official diplomatic mission to Coalition space, Jaiwo thought about the message that now served as the Earth Defense Fleet's motto, inscribed on every vessel. "Never underestimate those who fight for home."